Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a Rune and Tarot Divination for Thursday, the 28th day of July, 2022. Well, it's going to be 105 here today. I don't know. It was like 11 o'clock last night. It was like 90 or was it 80, 88 or something like that. It was insane. I, I can't wait for this to be over with so I can actually go outside whenever I feel like it. But it wasn't really too bad yesterday. I stayed kind of in the shade. As long as you do that, you're okay. But you get out where there's no tree coverage, and no, not the most fun thing to do. Let me move my keyboard here out of the way. So I've got a space for everything. Well, all right. Let's see where my runes are. Okay. I thought I was ready, but I guess not. I got ahead of myself. Anyway, if this is your first time here, thanks for coming by and welcome. And to new subscribers, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Let's see. What I normally do here in the morning is I read the esoteric influences. I go over those for that particular day. So I do Mondays and I do Thursdays because I do this 2 days a week. And so that's what we're going to do now. And then I'm going to take a rune from the Elder Futhark bag. And then I'm going to throw down the 4 elemental geomancy runes to discover the geomancy rune for today. The Elder Futhark represents the above side, and the geomancy rune represents the below side, and those will be the significators for the reading itself. And what that means, if you don't know, it just means the main focus of the reading. And then the cards I draw, I'll draw 3. If we need more, we'll take them. Otherwise, we'll stay with what we have there, and that's going to give us more details about the what the message of the runes are for today. So anyhow, let's go ahead and look at the esoteric influences. The 28th day of July, 28 reduces to 1, reduces to 10, and then to 1, which means new beginnings, talent, leadership, and wholeness. Let's see if I can see this better. Here we go. The rune today from the esoteric influences is Kenaz. That's the torch, or light, or illumination, or clarity, revelation, healing, well-being, love, intuition, transformation, creativity, and awakening. The Geomancy rune is Kappa Draconis, meaning new beginnings. It's governed by the north node of the moon, so the head of the dragon. It's the entrance. It's being on the threshold of something new. It's the upper kingdom. The sun's in Leo. The moon's in Leo as well. So we've got a shared shared space there, a shared sign space today between the sun and the moon. There's a new moon that starts at 10:54 a.m. So if you want to tonight, you can, or any time after that point, you can set your intentions for the coming lunar month to be fulfilled, or at least examined anyway, on the full moon. And the planetary governance today is Jupiter. Let's see, investing your time with others in a shared endeavor can provide the resources necessary to succeed during this period. Because of your ability to understand all aspects of a situation, your leadership is sought out and well respected. Your adaptability is perceived by others as a roadway to success, as is your willingness to share responsibilities. You evaluate each situation before acting and view yourself as more of a student than a leader. In that regard, you're able to support others and provide for the collective need. It's the kind of leadership that recognizes that, yeah, you're the ultimate authority. You're the one that's going to make the ultimate decision, maybe, depending on how that leadership is defined. But at the same time, you also can work very well collaboratively with others. So, which is important. You know, sometimes you get people in leadership positions where they do everything, and there's really nothing for anyone else to do because they've got to micromanage everything, and that doesn't, if you're in that position, then either there's something wrong with the leader, or there's something going on in the group where the group is not, living up to their potential. So, you get into the syndrome, but realistically you need to deal with the problem. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way, or at least to the side, in case I draw runes that are the same. as today. That's been happening a little more lately than was typical. Now, last time we had Iwas and Puella. I've been writing them down. Well, we have Nathis. Turn it up this way. Nathis is one of the Norn runes. There's 3. And in my view, just my view, I'm not to say any other person who does runes would say this, but in my view, the 3 Norn runes hold a little bit more weight, given that the Norns are the ones who gave Odin, or reportedly gave Odin, the runes as he hung upside down from the world tree, sacrificing an eye for enlightenment. That's why he wears an eye patch. But Nathis is the Norn rune that represents the Norn rune of the Norn of the future. We'll say that it's considered the Norn rune of the future, and so you're looking at the idea of manifestation and the inner friction to do that. It's a rune of the will, basically. What are you going to manifest today, and is it going to come from spirit, or is it going to come from ego? Because that's really the dichotomy that we face every day while we're in these bodies, is how much of your awareness is going to come from spirit, how much of it is going to be simply reactive and the ego taking over and deciding what's best, when the ego generally doesn't know what that is. You know, you have I've heard one description of the soul vehicle, and I think this came from human design. It's the idea that the mind, the body, all of that doesn't know what to do unless it has something to tell it what to do. And if you're living in that type of system, the human design system, if you're living according to the not self, then it's really the ego that's driving all of it. If you're living according to your authority, your inner authority, well, that's really the soul coming in and defining what the journey is going to be, instead of the or at least watching it unfold. But that's where the general impetus comes. The perception of it all comes from that, versus the ego itself, because you never know with the ego. The ego's going to do what the ego's going to do. And, let's see. Okay, we've got Kata Draconis. So we've got the opposite then, the complement of Caput today that we have from the esoteric influences. But it just depends, on what's driving the ship, basically. Are you simply reacting to everything? There's Kata. Or are you, using higher awareness to see the whole picture of something, to understand the wholeness of the experience? This is Kata Draconis. This would be Caput from today's esoteric influences. So if Caput is governed by the north node, Kata is governed by the south node, and what this is going to be dealing with is the tail of the dragon, or karma. Or past experience, which could be past life experience as well. We don't want to forget about that. But are we going to be influenced by the past when we manifest the future? You could look at that. You could describe Nathis and Kata Draconis that way. Are we going to be... And that can work really both ways. You can benefit from past experience when you're trying to deal with the future, when future endeavors you're considering, or new opportunities you're considering. Or, it could be something that drags you back and drags you down and keeps you from fully expressing your potential. So it kind of both ways there. I don't look at karma in a negative way. I don't look at experiences that maybe excuse me, that you could consider to be negative. I don't view those as necessarily not instructive, if you will. So if it's something that's, in other words, they're not a waste of time to be aware of them, or the impact, in other words, learning a lesson or two. You can learn, some people learn very well from the past. Others ignore it and they keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, because they haven't made that connection or something, So it's like you got to wake up, right? And so we'll see how Kata here is going to impact the idea of the friction within or the concentration of will to manifest something new, manifest a new decision maybe, or manifest a new direction. How much of that is going to be predicated on past experience, and how much of it is or influenced in a positive way by past experience. Or is this going to be something that's growing out of past things that are suddenly coming back to haunt you? Well, let's see. Did we have the Page of Wands last time or no? It was, we had the King of Wands. That's where Wands came in last time. It was the Page of Swords that we had. We have another page today, though. So that's cool. But we have the Sun. We start out with the Sun, then the Page of Wands, and then the Seven of Cups, which, you can kind of read a variety of ways here. I'm wondering, though, maybe we should start with the Seven. Let's do that. Let's start with the Seven of Wands. I'm going to move that to the front, because if we're going to be in this mode of the friction within to manifest something new, then maybe we need to do it that way. All right, let's take a look at this one. Now, here you see somebody in silhouette looking at all of these cups that have all this stuff in them, You see a head over here. You see one of those hats. Is that a hat? Yeah, I think it's a hat. Looks like one of those, like Napoleon type hats, maybe. I'm not sure. I've never been sure what it is, at least not on this particular rendition of the Rider-Waite. Here you have a snake, a serpent coming out of this one. You have like a castle at the top of a rock tower type thing. Here you have, it looks like either jewels. Yeah, it looks like jewels right here. Here you have a wreath, so dreaming about maybe success or honors, and I think this is a griffon. But basically, you can look at this as dreaming new dreams. Again, that interpretation of it could align pretty well with Nathis, or you can think about it as having your head in the clouds. In this particular rendition of the card, the clouds are quite dark, so I think it creates an unrealistic feeling to what's happening here. Since the guy is in silhouette, we can think that again that this is really dreaming. This is in either asleep or just daydreaming or something. Either way, but we're looking at the idea of the Seven is balance. It's also can mean spirituality and observation, and so if you want to think of it in terms of observation, you're what you're thinking about may be unrealistic, and so that could be the Cauda Draconis aspect of the reading, really. That all of the things you've been thinking about doing really aren't going to find aren't going to come to fruition. It's too much. And you need to develop a little better balance for that. And enter the Sun. Here we have a child on the back of a white horse, signifying purity. We see a red flag sort of blowing in the wind there. So there's some will here. You've got the sun above, its rays extended all over the place. You see the sunflowers in the background there behind the stone wall. So the idea of growth and vitality, of happiness, fulfillment. The sun can also represent the self, in a very real sense, just like the sun sign would. Although in esoteric astrology, it's really your rising sign. But here you're looking at clarity, success, reunion, the light returning, awakening, if you will. but there's some growth that needs to happen too, and I think that that's evidenced by the sunflowers. So maybe we're growing from this experience where we're starting to awaken from the dream state that we've been in and trying to focus on something that's a little bit more realistic so that we can manifest something. And again, that may be hindsight, and we could call Kata Draconis the hindsight aspect of the significators here, where hindsight, the whole hindsight's 2020. Well, when we can examine the past in a way that is maybe a little more objective. The 7 brings in the idea of objectivity and observation. Being able to see what we want in a more realistic manner, we awaken to some truth of the things that we can do and things that are unrealistic to even think about. The focus is a little more in the present moment versus in the dream state, if you will. And then we come to the Page of Wands. And I'll get him up a little higher there. Now, there's a spirituality to this card because you see the 3 pyramids. And he's clearly looking toward the future as he's holding his staff, almost out in offering. Pages are students, they're messengers, they're an example of undeveloped potential in much the same way the Fool and the Ace cards in the Minor Arcana are. They're talking about bringing something new into the mix. And with the Page of Wands, you're looking at opportunities, born of present moment awareness, transformation. Let's see. They can be, again, a student, so a news bearer, a seeker, and that aligns well with the 3 pyramids there in the Holy Land. But there's really nothing else around them. So I'm thinking that realistically, you have the sun in the center balancing out the 7 of cups with the Page of Wands. Cups, again, is our emotions. It's the water element versus wands, which is the fire element. And the fire element would be the vitality of everything, the creativity, the spark of life, basically, the spark of life in the seed, basically. Which would be cool if we had Ingus here instead of Kata Draconis, because that's the seed. And so you're looking at, when you let go of things that are unrealistic, and maybe that's the lesson from the past that Kata Draconis brings in, then you're able then to awaken to the possibilities that are there. And in this case, you're looking at new opportunities, born of present moment awareness. But if you can keep your awareness in the present moment instead of, hanging on to the past or hanging on to things that are not particularly realistic, then you can move forward. And I think that, Nathis, again, is going to probably align very well with the sun, because it's very much like the rune Sawillo, which is the rune of the sun, as the rune of the will. But here with Nathis, you're basically taking that will, and you're using that inner will to move forward, to choose new opportunities that are coming your way. So if that's happening for you, what I would suggest is keep all of that realistic. Don't allow yourself to drift off into things that can't really be. Focus on the present moment, focus on the needs of the present moment, and then allow yourself to use the past to help, guide you into where you don't want to go, basically. Especially if we're talking about, and I'm going to move that here. I'll move Kata above the 7 here. I really think that we do that, and it essentially, it almost keeps us stagnant, because we have nothing that we're thinking about is going to get us anywhere, right? And so there's a certain amount of comfort there. You don't have to take any risk. But with Nathis, the Norn of the Norn of the future, Norn rune of the future, it's asking us to take that risk, to allow the friction within, what we know to be real, what we know to be true, to look at what's going on and take the new opportunity that seems to be the best suited for our success, or something that we can actually accomplish. We can get into a little, mindset where we're so focused on things that are never going to come to their realization that it just keeps us stagnant and stuck. And that's one of the aspects of the water element and the suit of cups, is how stagnant and stuck are we going to be in that, in the fantasy of it all, or are we going to get it together and figure out, well, what's really going to benefit me and my family or what have you in the future. And I think that that's where the sun comes in, and it awakens us. It aligns with the it gives light and awakening to the Norn rune Nathis to manifest something that's actually going to be successful, or at least has a chance of being successful. Because what's happening in the Seven of Cups, not so much, right? And then comes into the Page of Wands, where we're really looking at the new opportunities that we're going to embrace, and to take that friction within and do that in full clarity and resolve with the sun. But again, with the Page of Wands and with the sun, we're also talking new opportunities here. So there's a sense of newness to it all, sort of undiscovered, unexplored. But yet at the same time, you can look at these situations that are happening and say, well, this particular thing probably isn't going to get me what I need, but this one might. So maybe you start thinking about it, and you start figuring out a way, well, how can I achieve that? If it's a new position at your current job, or a new position at some other job, or if it doesn't have anything to do with that, it's maybe you've got some issues at home or some issues in your life, and you need to figure out a direction to go. You can keep your head in the clouds about it all and probably not get anywhere. But if you allow the light to come in and a higher awareness to come in, and not deal with the reactive ego side of things, then maybe you can figure your way out of whatever's happening, and choose some other kinds of solutions that maybe you hadn't thought of before, and but that are there, and maybe are a little more realistic than what you've been thinking about otherwise. So I don't think we need another card. I don't know that we're going to necessarily, I think this is general enough that it could apply to different things, whether it's a new job or just trying to deal with a problem in your life. Don't waste time anyway on ideas and potential solutions that really aren't going to, fix a situation or deal with a situation. Don't be afraid to consider something new, because that's what I think the Page of Wands is suggesting that we do. And there's also, again, an element of spirituality there. So let higher self come in and offer a solution that if it seems less ego-based, less service to self-based, and service to others, maybe it's that type of dichotomy that you're really looking at here. Are you able to see the bigger picture, or is it just something where you're just stuck in the same type of solutions that don't really get you anywhere? That would be another way of looking at the seven, I think. So I think that's it. I think we did it. Well, I hope you're all staying as cool as possible. Hopefully next week we're going to be, I guess we're going to be 106 tomorrow. It was talking 107, but I don't know. Now they're saying 106. So, maybe we'll need a coat. Anyway, I was teasing my husband last night when he had to go out and set night water. I said, "Are you sure you don't need a coat on?" Since it was below 100. I think it was like 84 at that time when he went out. It was closer to midnight, and I said, "Are you sure you're not going to need a coat?" One good thing, though, is the flies are somewhere else. I don't know where they are. They're just nowhere. And there don't seem to be any mosquitoes out either in the heat. They come back out when things start to cool off, but the sound of flies are not here. We have a lot of people around us with livestock, and so we have to deal with that all the time. And we put out those hanging fly trap things, and right now we need to either get more or something, because they're full, literally full. We had that many flies around here. It was horrible. You couldn't even walk out of the house without being inundated. It was horrible. So we put our fly traps up, and they're the ones where they're little bags, you put water in them. There's little whatever they have inside that attracts them. There's attractant in there. Oh my Lord. It got rid of them, but there's still more. There's always more when there's livestock around you. So anyway, but at least they're gone in the heat. That's kind of an interesting thing. We didn't, my husband says, the flies are gone. It's like, where'd they go? Because you can't walk out of the house without there being flies everywhere. It's ridiculous. So really bad this year. So anyway, that's enough of that. Anyway, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. And click subscribe. I'd love you to do that, and give it a like if you want to. The Google people at YouTube, they seem to like that sort of thing. And plus it's good for, it's also, I guess, supposedly it's good for the channel. I don't know. I don't run ads, so I don't know. I don't know what it really matters either way, but I guess it just lets me know that you like what I'm doing, and you get something out of it. So I try to keep things as general as possible, because people's lives are so varied. I don't, unless it's just definite and specific and there's no way to get out of it. I try to look at things in a lot of different ways, so that people can find some kind of information that might be relevant to their lives. So anyway, but have a good weekend. And again, tonight's the new moon. Well, here in a little while it shifts. What did I say? 10 something? Is that what I said? 10:54 a.m. The moon turns new. And think about what you want to do and accomplish for the next few weeks, and make your plans, set your intentions, and do a little ritual if you want to. Take a candle out and light it, and light some incense, or burn some resin, and get out your crystals, and surround yourself with lots of energy, and enjoy the day. And we'll talk again on Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.